Coming up next on Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable, the state is about to be sued again over a lack of education funding, and will the governor team with Democrats over university funding? The Journalists Roundtable is next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable. I'm Ted Simons. Joining us tonight, Aaliyah Rao of the Arizona Republic, Bob Christie of the Associated Press, and Mike Sunnix of the Phoenix Business Journal. Well, Arizona school districts are set to sue the state over a lack of capital funding. Arizona school districts set to school the state. Where have we heard that before? It just never stops.
No, we thought we were done with Prop 123, and here we are back again less than, almost 2 years later.
So what is this all about?
This is focusing on capital funding, which for schools means not just buildings and maintenance, but also school buses, textbooks, technology, anything that's not a person, a teacher or a kid, anything related to kind of educating them. And
there was a suit in the 90s regarding this and a settlement. And this kind of harkens back to that as well, does it not? I mean, the settlement is not being, according to the claim here, it's not being lived up to. Right.
Under that settlement, they created a formula. They created the School Facilities Board. They created money that goes directly to the schools. And little by little, or some years a lot by a lot, they kind of whittled away what they put into that for schools to use for that capital money. And basically now the estimate is, since I think 2009, they have underpaid the schools. They owe them $2 billion. $2
billion, Bob. Where's that going to come from?
Well, we haven't seen the suit yet, so we don't know if they're going to ask for back pay. And if you're on Prop 123 school funding, they settled without getting the back pay. So what, maybe we're talking $300 or $400 million a year. And that is big money for schools. And the reason that the state has to pay that is the university or the schools sued back in the 90s and said, it's not fair to have a rich school district that has a lot of bonding capacity be able to build big giant schools and a poor district that's not able to do so. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, in the Constitution it says uniform and consistent schools. And so it's the state's responsibility to provide that money.
Okay, it's the state's responsibility to provide that money. The state provided the money, right?
Well, not so much all the time.
What
right?
happened?
Well, every time, they don't listen to these court settlements always, and when there's budget problems, we're prone to raid some of that money. So this is, like you said, this is a repeat of a lot of the past disputes that the Republican legislatures had with schools and other folks down there, and it's kind of a game of chicken. They're not paying up what the folks filing the suit are saying. They're going to ask for a lot of money to start, and then we'll see what happens with the negotiations. And do we see another ballot measure to address this?
Right. But this is settled law. The state Supreme Court has ruled that you have to fund this, and there were 3 attempts back in the late 90s after the ruling where the legislature tried to fix the funding formula, and the Supreme Court threw it out twice, and the third time they said, okay, that'll work, and then they slowly pecked away at it and stopped funding it as much as they should during the year, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, this is a funding plan that the legislature and the then governor agreed to. So it's a little bit different than we saw under the lawsuit with Prop 123. That one, they were debating whether they ever had to pay it. This one, there's a lot of legal background to it that may speed things up.
And that's why we're not hearing a whole heck of a lot in response so far from the governor and lawmakers?
Not yet. Basically, the lawsuit will get dropped on Monday. So lawmakers and the governor's office have said, give us a chance to actually look at what's filed on Monday, and then we'll take a look at it and kind of weigh in on it.
Yeah, and this is a negotiation that's going to happen obviously outside of court too. This is a political negotiation as much as it's a legal one. Tim Hogan has been talking about the possibility of this for a while, and this is yet another volley in this. This certainly makes it more serious because they're going to take it to the courts, and the state, the legislature, the governor needs to decide how they're going to respond to that. Are they going to negotiate outside of court, or are we going to look at a political solution to this?
We're talking $2 billion, though, since 2009. Some are saying even maybe double that amount, since schools now say they're getting 15% of what they're supposed to be getting per student.
Yeah, absolutely. A school, for instance, Glendale Unified School District says we should be getting about $400 per student. For capital, for soft capital and hard capital, so they say, and we're getting 40. They're getting 10%, 15% of what they should be getting. And, you know, if you look at the overall school funding in the state, adjusted for inflation, and even with Prop 123, we're giving about $4,600 per student of state money. 10 years ago, it was $5,600. So, you know, the schools have tightened their belts and tightened their belts and tightened their belts. And, you know, we had the lawsuit that settled the 123, and now this lawsuit. You know, this is not news in that Tim Hogan and the school districts last year voted to authorize this suit. So everybody's known it's going to come, and the legislatures know it's going to come, and they didn't fix the problem.
Yeah, they've known it's going to come, but nobody has been talking about it. We had Representative Heather Carter introduced a bill this session saying, here, at least I have a plan. Let's start giving them some money for this. They gave it kind of a cursory hearing, they call it, which doesn't even get a vote, and then basically said, that's nice, and sent her on her way. We've had no legitimate, you know, that we've heard of budget discussions on this. Hogan's been threatening for 2 years this lawsuit's going to come, and nobody's taken any action.
Why not? Is it whistling past the graveyard? Why?
It's one of those things, I think, that, you know, you're talking about buildings and buses. It's not, you know, a terribly interesting thing to talk about as opposed to teacher salaries or things like that that you can maybe politically hang your hat on. Mm-hmm. So it's got that not going for it. And then I think it's just, you know, a lot of people said we needed to deal with that other lawsuit first. But then there was never any step after it got done.
Well, there is a mentality among the GOP down there is that they'll deal with these things when they're forced to. But I do think there's some peril, especially for the governor, because you're absolutely right about, you know, there's not as much, it's not as sexy to talk about buses and buildings. But the headline of this is going to be, you know, the schools sue the state for shortchanging them $2 billion. That will resonate with people. That will resonate with some of the voters that the governor in particular cares about.
Yeah, lawmakers not living up to obligations, part of a subhead, I would imagine.
That's right, and the governor not forcing them to. The governor's got the bully pulpit, the governor's got the power to say, listen, we need to fix this funding formula, and he hasn't done it.
Governor's budget called for, I think, what, like $17 million,
yeah,
something like that?
$17 million.
And the House was something like, what, 60 or
63 million,
yeah.
Which is a lot, is a huge difference. I mean, the House at least has an understanding that we need to start funding some of this. Now, I think the back of the napkin number is we need $250, $300 million a year at least just to fund that school facilities board, which covers the capital costs.
Ali, you mentioned the idea of increasing teacher pay as being a little more exciting, getting a little more traction and such. The state superintendent of public instruction came out and holy smokes, I mean, she wants a big old increase, and she wants that sales tax to be increased and the whole 9 yards.
She did, yeah, a little bit of a surprise. You know, we hadn't heard a whole lot from her, really anything on Prop 301, and this is going to expire in 2021. The education groups have started talking about, should we expand it, should we extend it? But she's the first state official to kind of come forward and say, hey, I'm willing to kind of put my neck on the line for this. She wants to increase it to a full cent, which would bring in an extra $400 million.
What is it now?
0.6 of a cent.
Okay, so that is a tax increase, is it not?
Well, it depends who you ask. If you ask the governor, it may or may not be, but it would increase the tax.
Yeah,
adjusted.
Yeah, adjusted. So basically, she wants it to a full cent. You're talking an additional $400-some-odd million a year, and she says it's time. This is the Republican state superintendent of public instruction.
Yeah, $300 million for teacher pay increases, and it creates some kind of unlikely alliances. The teachers union like this. A lot of folks in the business community have been talking about 301 and extending and expanding this, and they're not exactly a fan of hers over Common Core. And so, yeah, she has taken some bold stances on this and the budget surplus, and she kind of got ahead of the curve of it on a couple other statewide officials on this issue.
And you know, the numbers are pretty interesting. I mean, this is an 11% raise for teachers if it's implemented under her plan, and that's like $5,000 a year. You know, the average teacher in this state, and that means from the beginning teachers to the most experienced, the average pay is $45,000 a year for a lot of people who have master's degrees. You know, an entry-level teacher is $30,000 or $32,000 a year. So this would be a $5,000 raise, 11% raise. It's a lot of money, and it also fixes that little problem with the capital that we were just talking about.
$100 million would go to capital funding.
$100 million right
there.
to that. That fixes a lot of that too.
And it's an easy sell. You're talking about a penny sales tax, and you're talking about teacher pay increases. You're not throwing you're not Christmas treeing it, throwing all these other interests in there like you've seen with some of the other sales tax extensions. And so you can write the billboard, you can write the slogans easily for it, and so that kind of puts it ahead of the curve in terms of other proposals that might be a little more complicated.
Now, maybe. I mean, the fight's going to be behind the scenes. Everybody wants a piece of this pie. You want full-day kindergarten, you want teacher pay, you want buildings, you want preschool. I mean, it's unbelievable the list that people have going for how to spend this $400 million.
Provided the $400 million is there to spend.
Correct. The governor, who has talked, he's been questioned by us multiple times over the last few months. What about Prop 301? It's going to expire in like 3 years as a fiscal cliff. And he goes, well, I'm looking at a modern Prop 301, a reformed Prop 301. But I will not raise taxes. So that seems like he raises, he puts the line in the sand. He says, I don't want anything more than the 0.6 of a cent. And if the governor comes out, he fought Jan Brewer when he was treasurer against a temporary sales tax they want to make permanent for schools. So, maybe the governor isn't quite so line in the sand. We don't know yet.
Well, and do the business folks who love the governor side with him, back him up all the time? Do they stay with him on that type of thing, or do they take the more money for education, which they complain about all the time, and side with somebody that they don't necessarily care for?
Awfully late in the session, it seems like, for an idea like this to come up, thrown out of the wind here. What's that all about?
Well, and that's a little bit of the wrench in things. We asked Diane Douglas, when are you going to get this done? How are you going to get this done? And basically her answer was, well, I'm going to start talking to the legislature about that, and I hope they kind of take care of it for me. It wouldn't happen this session. It would be almost impossible unless it got worked into the budget, which I can't imagine it would happen. So you have a summer of conversations, and then maybe it would get introduced next year and could be put on a 2018 budget. But Douglas wouldn't even commit to that.
And it needs voter approval. So either the legislature has to be convinced, persuaded to refer it to the 2018 ballot, or then you have to go out and collect 160,000 valid signatures.
Yeah.
If they don't, to get it on the ballot as an initiative.
And valid signatures with no problems on them.
With no problems at all.
Watch those signatures.
Right, and strict compliance.
And she's kind of done things on her own timing before. If you remember when she talked about the surplus, I think she talked about it over the summer.
Yes.
And she does give that line before that. I'm here to advocate for teachers and education, and it's the legislature and those other folks have to figure out all the messy details.
The fact that some challengers have lined up for her office, Frank Riggs on the Republican side, David Shapiro on the Democratic side, coincidence?
I think she's trying to get ahead of the curve on things. She kind of cuts across bases. We want to put her in this kind of conservative, anti-Common Core group. But if you look at what she's advocated for in terms of spending and tax increases, you could see people from different stripes maybe backing her. Yeah. And she won with a very strange formula. Didn't she win all the rural counties, lost the urban counties, and that that's usually not a winning recipe, but she pulled it off.
Now, speaking of education, U.S. News and World Report with this new survey of the best high schools in America, and you guys are sitting here bad-mouthing education in Arizona, and 3 of 5 of the top 10, they're right here. They're basis schools here in Arizona.
All basis. Basis Scottsdale's #1, a couple schools in Tucson, also basis. The charter school, Chandler, Peoria, they dominate. This is a national list, so they're at the top, and it's a smaller charter school, a lot of smart kids there. Those kids take AP tests like in middle school, and there's people that question whether this can work for public schools, but it's a very selective school with a great track record.
Hold that thought. The governor's idea of performance-based funding, I mean, he's at the governor's office today came out and said, look at this. This is what's good about Arizona. We need more of this. Let's fund more of this.
Right. Well, the question is, can you take a basis Scottsdale, which I think the Grand Canyon Institute did a look at this U.S. News and World Report thing earlier this week, and they noted that of those 5 schools, they only had a little more than 200 high school graduates between those 5 basic schools, and that's what the ratings was based on. Is 100% of them are getting into college, 100% of them took AP tests and passed. Well, can you replicate that at a Sunnyscope High School or a Phoenix High School?
Well, and we did have a minority leadership on the program this week, and I asked Senator Katie Hobbs about the idea of results-based funding. Doesn't sound like she's buying it. Take a listen.
It's a scheme that would reward schools and students that don't need it instead of providing more equitable funding so that the schools that need more help can do better. It's not something that the education community is asking for. It doesn't address a need in our schools, in our public schools. And so if there's extra money to spend, I'm not sure how much money is in this proposal, $38 million or something, this can be put to better use to make our public education system stronger.
Ali, I think the Republic did a study on where this money would wind up going to, and it would go to the wealthier districts.
It would. A majority of the money would go to the wealthier districts, a lot of them which have no official registered kids who would qualify for free or reduced lunch. And then there's a portion set aside for low income. Low income students, each student would get a little bit more than the higher income students, but when you add the totals together, the higher income schools would get a good chunk of the money more than the lower income schools.
So does this idea have any traction at the legislature? I mean, are people going to go for this results-based funding?
Oh, I think a lot of the folks on the right, on the Republican Party, like that kind of merit-based funding. Success begets success. You want to pay teachers that are successful, get rid of the bad apples. You want to reward schools that do well and take those ideas. They look at things like innovation and changing models to make it better work for the students. And certainly there's challenges in taking a school like Basis, which has high achieving students in small numbers, and making that work at other high schools. But I think public schools and the advocates on that side of the fence, you need to look at being more innovative and changing the models. You look at the high schools now, they look like prisons, right? Because there's so much security, they don't have any windows. Is that a good learning environment? Is having, 2,000 or 3,000 or 5,000 kids on a high school campus, does that work? I think at a big level, some of the folks on the charter school side, look at kind of the innovative things that can work for kids, across different economic groups and academic status.
And Chamber of Commerce saying that status quo funds failure. So they say something's got to change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is part of the governor's bid to try to, fund the waiting lists, help bring innovation, encourage those schools that are really performing well to increase the number of slots that they have to do better. And he figures if you can replicate that, if you can incentivize that, it'll give lower performing schools an incentive to do what these guys are doing and maybe get better. And more importantly, the kids will have better outcomes.
I do think the challenge is both sides of the aisle just lines up on their sideline on this issue. The folks on the left, want to protect public schools, and they look skeptically on charter schools sometimes. The folks on the right don't always side with public education maybe like they should, and they side too much with vouchers and charter schools. So maybe it's good to see some folks cross lines and cross ideology to talk about these things.
All right, let's move on here. We've been talking about this for quite a while. University funding, the bonding idea, how it's going to be the big kahuna there at the legislature regarding getting a budget passed. There seemed to be some thought that maybe Democrats and Governor Ducey could sit in the same room and figure something out. Is that happening or even remotely happening?
I'm not sure it is. There's some thought on that, and I think based on how the numbers are splitting out, somebody's going to have to get some Democrats on their side, whether it's the Republican lawmakers or whether it's the governor's office. But we've heard, I don't know that the governor's office has actually reached out to the Democrats. So I don't know where we are on that.
Well, and again, we did have minority leadership on this week, and I asked Rebecca Rios, House Minority Leader, about this on siding with the governor regarding university funding. Here's what she said.
Rumors are that we're going to see the budget next week. I had an opportunity to speak to our speaker, who indicated that there is firm opposition in his House members for any bonding proposal. And so, after hearing that last week, I did give the governor a call on his cell phone. I'm still waiting for a response, but I basically let him know we were anxious to get out, and if he needed help, we were there. As long as that TPT from cities and counties is excluded, I think Democrats are willing to look at the issue. We are probably more supportive of bonding than the direct appropriation, because if it's just a direct appropriation, which is what I'm hearing is being proposed by some Republicans, there's no guarantee that they're going to pay that in years 2, 3, 4, and on down.
Bob, it kind of sounds like the governor's original idea for bonding and taking the sales taxes from cities and towns and having that as part of the equation. It sounds like that thing is just gone.
Yeah, I think the city portion is gone. There's about $7.5 million. The governor wanted $37 million, $7.5 million from cities and towns that would normally flow from the universities to the state and then back to cities and towns, and $30 million that the universities themselves pay in sales taxes. They wanted to keep that. The cities and towns is toast. And I'm also told by some folks that the whole concept of the sales tax is toast. I'm also told we could be here till June. There's a big big gulf in this issue.
And it sounds like bonding is, if not toast, then it's warmed over bread, because it doesn't sound like Republicans like the idea of more debt.
No, there's some philosophical issues with that beyond just giving universities more power over that money. But yeah, they think it'll open the door to other people coming down there, and it's a slippery slope, and we hear these with all kinds of issues. There's some interesting things, because the governor, if he teams with Democrats on this, I don't think there's much peril politically for him, campaign-wise. Is there anybody really going to vote yay or nay on somebody because of how they came down on university bonding? But it impacts the budget, and if it's part of a bigger budget deal that he needs Republicans to do, how does he separate that out? I think that's a challenge.
So dedicated funding, it's possibility then? I mean, we could go all the way back to what people wanted in the first place, but no one was all that interested in.
There's a big group who do support dedicated funding. I know Senate President Yarborough has said he thinks universities need more money. He just doesn't like the bonding issue. But I don't know that the votes are there total for that, and that, for that much money.
And we're talking June?
Well, the governor has not flexed his muscles yet. The governor is not willing to take this off the table. The governor is pushing for it. He so far hasn't gotten enough support among his own party's members in the House and the Senate to reach a deal. Deals are weird. I could say there's no deal till June and walk out of here and get a call and there's a deal and we're ready. But there's no deal right now.
Speaking of flexing muscles, Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton had his State of the City speech this week, and my goodness, this felt more like a State of the State address, and the mayor going after the governor and going after businesses again on this idea of not supporting teachers and not supporting education. Here's part of what he had to say.
All public school teachers in our state deserve a real raise, not an insult. And expanding private school vouchers on the backs of public school kids will only make matters worse. It's apparent to me that those in the state legislature are not listening to voters, to teachers, they aren't listening to parents, but they will listen to you, our business leaders. And we need business groups to put more effort towards fighting for our public schools.
All right, Mike, what's he running for?
Governor, Superintendent of Education, Secretary of State, maybe all of the above.
Yes.
CD9. Interesting CD9. Listen to that one. Have you heard that, anything?
We've heard everything under the sun with this one. So it's just a question of, he's got some money sitting out there. What's he going to do? Who's he going to run for? Governor was on the table, it seemed like, for a little bit, but that's quieted down with Garcia, Secretary of State. If Sinema may run for Congress, that might open CD9.
Education, though, may have to quiet down because you got Shapiro running for that, so the Democrats don't want to fight each other. At one point, he also said, I wish there was as much effort into fighting for kids as for restricting the initiative process. I mean, this was double-barrel action here at the legislature.
It sure was, and, Mayor Stanton has the bully pulpit in the city of Phoenix. It's the biggest city in the state. He's not known elsewhere around the state, but this... he's improved as a candidate over the last several years. His public speaking, his appearances here have improved. He's become much more polished. It's a very high-profile position. And, I think he stands as good a choice as any other Democrat who tries to run a statewide campaign.
That's the key thing there. Who's the Democratic leader in the state? Greg Stanton wants to be that. They don't hold any major offices. How many Democrats can really have any kind of statewide household name? The mayor of Phoenix is probably the closest thing, right? And yeah, you're right about CD9. If Jeff DeWitt challenges Flake, Sinema gets in there, and then that seat's open, and a lot of people would run, and Greg Stanton would have a great opportunity at that because of his name ID.
And aren't we expecting Steve Farley to announce a run for governor here one of these days?
That's the thought. He did come out and tell Garcia how terrible he would be at the position, so I assume there was a reason for that.
Not quite unity there along the Democrats.
Senator Farley, who's the minority whip in the Senate, has said, I will have an announcement once the session's done. Right now I'm focused on getting the people's business done. So we would expect an announcement if he were to announce for governor after June.
So at a time when Democrats didn't seem to have too many folks capable or able to run, all of a sudden you put a voucher thing up there, and all of a sudden it's a stampede.
Oh yeah, well they all want to get out there early, right? But,
Yes.
but I think Stanton's smart enough to know what contests he has a chance to win and what contests where he would be the underdog.
All right, we got to stop it right there. Thanks for joining us. Monday on Arizona Horizon, we will have more on school districts filing suit against the state over a lack of capital funding for school maintenance, and we'll look at how Arizona fares in the global economic spectrum. That's Monday, 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. Tuesday, Bill Moyers talks about his new documentary on New York's Rikers Island jail complex. Wednesday, we'll speak with a Phoenix veteran about President Trump's move to protect whistleblowers. Thursday, a closer analysis of recent rankings that show Arizona with the best high schools in the country. And Friday, it's another edition of the Journalists Roundtable. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great weekend.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your PBS station. Thank you. Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
The Persian Room. Travel to another world, to a land of exotic aromas and period decor for a fine dining experience. The Persian Room in North Scottsdale on Scottsdale Road, 1 light north of Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. Gourmet exotic cuisine at its best.
This is Latin music. This is Latin music. And this is Latin music. Its history is as rich as its sound. Latin Music USA.
Tonight at 8 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
There are many ways to support your station, but the easiest way is to become a sustaining donor. Hi, I'm Paula Kerger, President and CEO of PBS. Here's how it works. You set up your bank account or credit card to make an automatic contribution every month in support of the programs you count on from your PBS station. You can choose any amount that works for you, $5, $10, $20 a month or more. It's up to you. You'll be able to spread your support throughout the year and never have to worry about remembering when it's time to renew your membership. Best of all, your monthly donations help ensure that all of your cherished PBS programs will be there for you. It takes just a couple of minutes to set up your ongoing monthly donation, so please give us a call or visit us online right away. Thank you.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Woodbeck. Adverse childhood experiences can last a lifetime, but they don't have to. You can help break this cycle of neglect and abuse. Visit azpbs.org